Hello and welcome back. It's Jenny Eden here. I think this is the fourth or fifth video. So we've done a video on what is anxiety. We've done a video on what the physical effects of anxiety is. And we've also done a video on how we can talk and discuss our worries and our problems. And I've done a video on your own individual problems and a way to tackle that and a way to see those problems so that you can change them. So this is the fifth video, and this video is all about ANTS. ANTS, automatic negative thoughts. So we know that we have an amygdala, and we know that that amygdala can often get activated in times of stress and worry and when we're making changes in our lives. Now, we have, because of the amygdala, remember the amygdala is part of the automotive part of the brain, so it's automatic. So the amygdala will automatically give us negative thoughts. And the reason for that is, it's so much easier to be negative rather than it is to be positive, because if you are negative, you're more likely to be safe. You're not going to put yourself at risk. If you're negative and worrying too much about changes, then you're less likely to change. And to be honest, that's what the amygdala wants. It does not want you to change. But we know from our mindfulness practice in one of the videos that, everything changes around us, and we need to be observant of those changes and recognize it's a part of growing, it's a part of living. So even though the amygdala doesn't want change and the amygdala tries very hard to keep things negative, you now have that awareness, and so you're going to do things that will allow you to make those changes. Now, when we watch a movie, often the brain cannot tell the difference between what is real, what is imagined. Now, this is a really good thing because you can imagine so many wonderful things happening in your life and so many wonderful things coming your way that actually you can generate and create that in your reality. But I digress. What we're thinking about is automatic negative thoughts. Now, just say, for example, you watch Monsters, Inc., a cracking movie, but it's all about monsters in the cupboards and in the wardrobes. And I know from working with an awful lot of children that the nighttime worries are a huge, huge problem for children, and it gives them lots of things that they end up thinking about and dwelling about, and it prevents them from sleeping. Now, it's just to note here, sleeping is one of the most important things that you can do. Your body regenerates, your body regroups, your body recalibrates at night when you are asleep. So it's so important to get the right amount of sleep. But if you're worrying about things and you have these automatic negative thoughts that are getting in the way, we need to learn a practice to remove those. Okay. So it's a little bit similar to what we do when we're looking through the worry tree. We're looking at the problem, we're identifying the problem, we're seeing if we can come up with a plan, and we're choosing how we action that plan, and then ultimately we're letting go. So it's a little bit like that, but I'm just going to give you some questions for you to think about as a practice that you can do. So I want you to think about a time when you have been anxious, worried, stressed, afraid, maybe even angry. And get a piece of A4 paper, and I want you can draw that situation, that feeling, or you can write it out. It's totally up to you, but you've got a time when you were feeling worried, stressed, anxious, or afraid. And I'm going to get you to just make a note of that. And then I want you to think, how did that make you feel? Okay, and then you can just do a circle, and the chances are it didn't make you feel very happy because you're worried, you're stressed, you're anxious or afraid. Okay, so you can just put like an upside down You know, not a smiley face, not a happy face. Maybe it's just a straight line because you're just feeling confused with it. So you're going to write down, you're going to draw in how it made you feel and think of the word. Okay, because this whole practice is about giving ourselves a little bit more vocabulary so we can express ourselves. So, were you scared? Were you worried? Were you stressed? Were you unhappy? Were you afraid? Now, then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to think, what was the automatic negative thought in that situation? So, for example, you watch Monsters Inc. It's all about monsters coming out of the wardrobes. You're then going to bed and you can't sleep because you're thinking about monsters that are coming out of the wardrobe. So your automatic thought might be something like, there's something in there that's going to be dangerous to me, or there's something I'm frightened of in my wardrobe, or I'm scared of the dark, I'm scared of shadows. Whatever it is, you're going to write that in, okay, into a little speech kind of bubble, a thought bubble. You know, what is your automatic negative thought, okay? And just like ants, there's often lots of them all scurrying along together and they just kind of get mixed up in your mind. Now, when you've got that automatic negative thought, and just say it's shadows, I'm frightened of the shadows, then, you know, what could be an alternative positive thought that we could use instead? So we might hear a noise and our automatic thought is, it's a burglar, or it's a monster, or it's something that's going to come and get me and cause damage to me or my family. Okay, so that's the automatic thought. And a more positive thought would be, oh, I hear a noise. I bet it's a cat, you know, jumping in the tree, or I bet it's the wind. Okay, or it might be that you see a shadow and you think, oh my goodness, it's a monster, it's something awful, it's something that's going to cause harm to me or to my family. And what you can say to yourself, a more positive thought is, oh, I see a shadow. Do you know, I bet it's my jumper that's fallen off the end of my bed, or I bet it's a toy that I haven't quite put away in the cupboard. So whatever thought you have that's your automatic negative thought, and it is a negative thought because it's designed to keep you safe and it's designed to keep you from changing, and it's designed to keep you hypervigilant and aware and alert, because that's how you survive, and that's what the amygdala believes. It believes you're in danger. So it's a negative thought, and it's up to you as the train driver of your thought train to change that thought into something that's going to be much more positive. Now, when you have that thought of, for example, there's a shadow, it's a monster, oh my goodness, something creepy's in my wardrobe, and then you go, hang on a minute, there's a shadow, I bet it's an item of clothing, my jumper or a toy, then what that does is make you feel better. And so I then want you to draw another face, and if you were to play that more positive thought in your head, how would that make you feel? Would that make you feel better? And the idea is that, you know, we can't do anything about the ants. They're always going to be there. They're there for your protection and for your safety. But with awareness, you can change the way those negative thoughts affect you. So you can change the thinking into something positive. Put a positive spin on it. You're reframing the thought. So you want to stop the negative thought. You then want to reframe that thought. You want to put it. So if you have pictures, and as an artist, you know, I with paintings, you can put a different frame on a painting and it will change the way that painting looks. It will bring out different colours in that painting. So, you know, by reframing it, you can change the way something looks. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to reframe your thoughts. So you're going to change that automatic negative one into something much more positive. And when you reframe it, you're then going to play. Now, something I got from Lisa Nichols, actually, she's fantastic, and I met her in 2013. I went to an A-Fest festival, and she was doing some fantastic workshops there. And one of the things she said was that, you know, if you look on the side of your temple and feel on the temple, there's a little bit where it kind of goes in. So you kind of go up and in and out again. Now that little bit there, I want you to get your 2 fingers. So when you notice an automatic negative thought, you're going to go stop. And that is sending like a kind of a break in your thoughts. It's sending a vibration and it breaks those thoughts. And you're going to stop that thought and you're going to reframe that thought. You're going to make it into something more positive. And when you've got that more positive thought, you're then going to press play on that thought. You're going to play that thought. And when you play that new, more positive thought, it is going to help make you feel better. Okay, so that's looking at the negative thoughts, looking at the automatic negative thoughts, which means they come up with almost a will of their own, and you're going to change them into something more positive. And that is a strategy that will help you to feel much better. Now, we're going to have a little bit of time where we're going to look at some mindfulness techniques. So I want you to think about a time when you were nervous and a time when you were maybe stressed, you were maybe worried, you were maybe anxious, you were maybe afraid. And instead of having those worries, I want you to close your eyes and imagine that somebody you love is encouraging you and is helping and supporting you. Okay? Now, what kind of things would they say to you if they wanted you to feel better? And what I want you to then do is I want you to talk to yourself in that way, in that more positive way. So tell yourself, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. It's perfectly fine. And think about the words that you would use that you would help to support a friend, and use those words to help support yourself. Okay? And when you've given your, and take as long as you need to give yourself that little talk about everything's okay, it's going to be fine, you've got this, all right? And when you finish, just open your eyes and just know that you are fine as you are, okay? So that's one activity that you can try to do. And another one is that, you know, every morning, so I did speak in one video about being grateful, because the more grateful you are, the more great and full your life becomes. So it's always important to kind of pay attention to what you're feeling good about in your life. But I think it's also really important to pay attention in the morning to how we're actually feeling. I'm dreadful. If I have a bad dream, or if I have a dream where something happens, I find when I wake up, I'm still locked into that dream world. And so my poor husband gets so much grief because I think that he's the person that was in the dream that was perhaps not being very kind. And so I give him loads of grief, and it gets to the point where he has to kind of say, Jen, that was a dream. So it's really important to take a little bit of time in the morning to recognize what it is that you're feeling, because only by knowing what you're feeling can you then make changes. So each morning, sit mindfully, have your spine nice and straight, because that's the way the energy starts to flow amongst your body. Take those nice mindful breaths, whether it's the high five, whether it's the window, whether it's the breathing ball. So take yourself a few breaths, and then I want you to think, where's my mood? What am I feeling, and where am I feeling it? Okay? Am I feeling it in my head? Am I feeling it in my throat? Am I feeling it in my chest? Am I feeling it in my tummy? Am I feeling it in my legs? And, you know, put your hand to where you're feeling it, and does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Is it light as a feather? And then what you can do is you can just get a piece of paper and you can choose a marker pen, and you can just kind of draw out that feeling. So, you know, the choice of colour, as we know from a previous session, it can be really important. You know, it can have quite significance. So whatever colour, that's your mood, and you can sort of draw it out. And it doesn't matter if it's scribbles, you know, we don't have to be artists, we're not Picasso. You know, you're just drawing out your mood, and using a colour to draw that out. And then just stick it somewhere, because that is helping bring awareness as to how you're actually feeling. And if you are feeling a little bit angry and a little bit kind of jaded or a little bit frustrated, being aware of that is going to help you to use some of those practices that we've already used. So, you know, do you want to feel that way? Could you let it go? Would you let it go? When would you let it go? And giving yourself an opportunity and a reflective time to let that go, so that you can start your day much more productively. So there you go. It's a very short video today, and I hope that, you know, a little bit of short time now, because some of the videos have been very long, because there's been a lot to cover in a short space of time. I hope that they're kind of working for you. I hope that they're useful. I hope they give you things to think about. What I find really fascinating about the way this universe works is that, you know, as you start to bring attention to things, you will then notice that whenever you're on a laptop, a computer, or when people are talking, it will start to resonate with the way that you are feeling. So you'll start to get much more information. There will be people that will come along and they'll say similar things to me. You might start to come across books. There are gazillions of books out there that help with all of these topics. You'd be so surprised. So wherever you can get help from, and however that help is received, it's only going to help to serve you, to make you the much more joyful, joyous, thriving, wonderfully divine individual that you are. And please know that you really are enough, just as you are. So love and light, thank you for joining me. And there's just one more video, so I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.